The world is littered with stories of ghosts and ghouls. Legends and myths abound from the darkest corners of our world, telling the tales of horrors that exist on the fringes of society. Today, we dive into two more tales of terror, events and monsters that have perplexed many and have spread fear into the most fearless. How about this? Urban myths. There are not many cryptids that have incited as much panic and terror from a community as the Jersey Devil of the Pine Barrens. This creature, otherwise known as the Leeds Devil, is a staple of southern New Jersey and Philadelphian folklore. Its presence has driven whole towns into mad hunts for the beast and into fear-induced lockdowns for hundreds of years. It's often described as a bipedal, kangaroo-like entity with a horse or goat-like head. Upon its back are two leathery wings, not unlike those of a bat. It also possesses horns, small arms with clawed hands, and cloven hooves on the bottom of its legs, and a forked tail. Those who encounter this abomination often report it moving at high speeds while emitting a high-pitched noise, often resembling a blood-curdling scream. The only thing more disturbing about this creature than its description is the legend of its origin. According to folklore, a woman named Mother Leeds, often cited as Deborah Leeds of Leeds Point, became pregnant with her 13th child. Becoming increasingly distraught at having yet another child, Leeds cried, "Let this one be the devil!" This is a prime example of be careful what you wish for, as on a stormy night in 1735, Mother Leeds went into labor. The birth was nothing beyond ordinary. A baby was born, and it was seemingly a normal baby boy. However, within minutes, it began to morph and stretch. His body writhed and deformed until wings burst from his back and claws ripped from his fingers. He became the Jersey Devil. According to legend, this abomination proceeded to kill his mother and devour his siblings before fleeing out the chimney and into the Pine Barrens. Over the next dozen decades, many people would report encountering this creature, including U.S. naval officer and Commodore Stephen Decatur and Joseph Bonaparte, the brother of Napoleon. At the beginning of 1909, reports flooded in from all over the state, ranging from sightings to full-fledged attacks on people and livestock. A number of schools closed, and workers refused to leave their homes during this time throughout the Delaware Valley due to fear of this monster. In the year 1927, a young cab driver encountered the Jersey Devil in a horrific way. In the years before electric street lighting, the road between Salem City and the Pine Barrens were consistently deep in an inky blackness whenever night fell. The cab driver was just finishing his night when he popped a flat tire. Thinking nothing of it, he got out of the car to change the tire and get back on his way. When he got down to begin taking the tire off of his cab, he heard a blood-chilling scream from the woods around him. He looked around and got a chill down his spine. He tried to shake it off when suddenly, the scream came again. Suddenly, he dropped his tools and got up. When he stood up, a dark form flew out of the woods and toward him, making that awful screeching sound. The cab driver dove into his car, the only place of safety from this creature. He locked the door, and he heard the monster bang on his roof, the windows, and the doors. When the monster finally left, he got away and reported this incident to the police. What is the Jersey Devil? Could it be an owl or some other large flying animal? Or could it be something more sinister? If it is, what does it want? Where is it now? One day we may know, but until then, when you're traveling the forests of New England, be careful and stay wary of the Jersey Devil. When you sleep, your brain releases hormones that paralyze your body to keep you from acting out your dreams. When you wake, this wears off and lets you move, most of the time. When it doesn't, terrifying things can happen. Sleep paralysis is a common ailment that occurs in as many as 4 in every 10 people. Sleep paralysis is the condition where one's mind wakes up, yet their body remains asleep. Because of the aforementioned chemical, your body won't move when experiencing sleep paralysis, and this, plus one's natural grogginess from waking up, can send the brain into a fit of horrific explanations as to why you can't move. Hallucinations of demons holding you down, to aliens performing probing operations into you, are common things people experience while in this semi-dream state. Most times this goes away on its own, but for 117 Asian immigrants, it was the last thing they ever experienced. The Hmong people are an ethnic group hailing from Southeast China, Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, and Myanmar. In 1975, US forces began pulling out of Vietnam, leaving the Hmong people at the mercy of the up-and-coming communist regime. The Hmong were subsequently massacred and imprisoned at the hands of their new rulers. Roughly 50,000 Hmong escaped to America, where they were granted asylum. However, another terror, something far more ethereal, followed them. Throughout the next decade, more and more of the Hmong people across America began having violent panic attacks in their sleep, and then suddenly passing away in their beds. Reports say they would convulse and flail their arms around as if fighting something that was attacking them, and they would suddenly fall still, cold and dead. In the end, over 117 Hmong had died in this manner, all of them in their mid-30s, and all but one being male. There was something killing these people in their sleep, but no one knew why. The doctors were baffled as there was generally no sign of ill health or genetic disposition that would cause them to die so suddenly. Experts called this sudden unexpected nocturnal death syndrome, or SUNS. No explanation was ever found in any degree until stories given by survivors began to surface. One such survivor was Vian Zheng. Vian Zheng was one of the many refugees who came to America seeking peace and prosperity. One night while he was sleeping, he had awakened to a feeling of not being alone anymore. He looked forward, and in front of his bed was a pale-skinned woman who was tall and sickly looking. She had been watching him. At this point, he realized that he couldn't move anymore. He watched, and terror overcame him as the woman climbed on top of him and pressed her weight onto his chest. The pressure made breathing difficult. He tried to call for help, but he couldn't speak. He tried to roll, but he couldn't move. He could do nothing as this terrible spirit quietly killed him. For the next 15 minutes, he watched this horrifying entity slowly pull his life out of his body. Suddenly, this being vanished, and he truly woke up. He rolled out of bed and gulped down precious air as fast as his lungs could bring it in. He realized then that he had been paid a visit by the Dab So. The Dab So, the Sog Swam, or the Night Hag, is a female spirit of Hmong folklore. It is said to dwell underground during the day and come out at night. It enters the homes of its victims while they sleep. The legend states that they will attempt to suffocate their prey, and they consume their souls as they die. The deaths were not exclusive to the United States. There were over 230 more deaths of similar nature in Hmong settlements in Thailand and Singapore. Young Hmong men would refuse to sleep for weeks on end, as more stories of the Dab So began to appear. Theories for this sudden string of deaths ranged from new diets and polluted air to the stress of living in a faraway land where the people were less than nice to you, causing these deaths. But the fact that it only happened almost entirely to healthy males in their 30s leave these theories as less than satisfactory. Another theory, however, would explain these deaths, albeit in a less scientific fashion. The communist massacres of the Hmong people in Laos and Vietnam killed many of their shamans and elders, people who were tasked to protect their communities from such evil spirits as the Dab So. The rituals and customs used by these shamans to keep these entities away had nearly ceased entirely, leaving little protection for those who had fled. Were these deaths the product of the war and the Hmong's stressful new environment? Or was there something more sinister at play here? We may never know for sure. However, this hasn't stopped people from learning from this legend. This mystery had become so well known that it inspired famous filmmaker Wes Craven to create the titular Nightmare on Elm Street, where, as you know, people were killed in their dreams by an evil spirit. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like and subscribe for more of the creepy content that we both know that you love. Leave a comment with your favorite scary stories you'd like us to dive into, or creepy places you'd like us to explore. Thank you so much, and as always, stay creepy, friends.